Hey everybody, what's up? It's your boy Chicken coming at you again, and today I am going to be putting out my Fleet Member Basics video. And what its intent is to help members who've never been on a fleet before just kind of get their feet wet as far as the base knowledge before they go out, so they don't make any big mistakes. I'm going to be going over a quick little checklist from before you leave the station, as well as different things that you'll see when you're in the fleet, some commands that the FC might call, and also what these things look like, what you do when you're in trouble in various ways. So it's the primary intent of this video is so that it can be passed on to new fleet members, save the FC the time of needing to explain it at the beginning of every fleet. You can just send this video to your new guys, say, hey, I know you've never been in a fleet before, watch this video. I'm going to try to keep it as short as possible, and I'm just going to bullet point a lot of stuff and not really dig in too much because, like I said at the beginning, this is a basics video. So let's go ahead and get started. First and foremost, let's go through a quick little PvP checklist, and I want to thank the leadership at No for allowing me to kind of pick and choose different parts from their fleet guide to be presented in this video today. It was very extensive, covered a lot of things from the basic to the intermediary to the advanced, and I'm using a lot of the images provided there. Not to name anyone specifically, but I just wanted to say thank you very much for allowing me to use some of the imagery, and thank you. PvP checklist. I guess number 0 on that PvP checklist is comms discipline. You want to make sure that unless there is an absolute need for you to talk, that you don't talk. And do I mean during the entire fleet? No. But in times when it's tense and times when it's getting, the FC needs to focus on a few things, then you want to give them the kind of silence to allow them to think. And there's a lot of times when I'm in fleet where there is an open comms time and a not so open comms time. So first and foremost, the thing to majorly understand, like item 0 on this checklist, is comms discipline. Make sure that you know when it's not okay to talk. And if you're not sure, just type in the chat in game. Now, before leaving station, number 1 on this list, check your fuel. If needed. Not everybody's going to need fuel for the stuff they have, but there's nothing worse than being out in space and going, oh, I don't have fuel. Number 2, check insurance. You want to make sure that you can get your ship back. A lot of SRP just compensates you for the IP cost that you would have spent as long as you purchase it ahead of time. Most organizations that I know of don't compensate the full insurance cost. They compensate a portion of the discounted insurance cost. So make sure that you have enough insurance to cover your ship, so you're only paying that 30% of the total value. Turn all battle settings off. In this first image that I have up, I have circled the section that is most applicable. You want to make sure to turn off all the ones that I've circled there. It's much better to just manually hit your guns when it's time to shoot the next target. Allow the FC to pick and choose when it's time to do things. And there's another piece of it too a little later on why it's important to turn all these off. If for some reason that if for some reason that you don't have the best device and you want to make sure that you can participate the entire time, you need to activate something called potato mode. And in this next image, I am showing a couple of things that will help with potato mode. You want to make sure to if you trust your FC a lot, you want to turn off the display icons. That's literally going to turn everything off, including celestials, gates, all that stuff. So I try not to do that. That's the last one that I turn off, but it does help lag a lot, especially on lower devices in huge fleets. If it's a smaller fleet, and you have a medium device, you probably never need to turn that off. And a lot of times, even with a not so good device, you wouldn't need to turn that off, but I wanted to mention it here. Additionally, the tactical overlay, turn that off every time. Unless you're an FC, you don't need to know that. And if you're going for potato mode, that's going to help with lag a lot. In the next image, the items that you would want to make sure that you change for your potato mode is you want to turn your graphics settings to low and you want to turn performance mode on. This will just give your device the best chance it can have in going out and not giving you a black screen or logging you out or freezing, basically letting you be in the fight more. One other thing is that that will help with lag is to zoom out completely. Don't see your ship at all. Have it, just do like this a bunch until it's as far away as it can possibly be. Being closer in, it's going to have to render a lot more items, and in rendering those items, it's going to create lag on your device. You're also going to want to make sure that you activate pings from the fleet. I'm going to go over that in a later image. It helps with scout pings and also if you're tackled or in trouble. You want to set your approach to 0. In this image, you'll be able to see where the set approach and the set orbit commands are. You just hold in on either of those two buttons there, and then you're able to drag it out, just like you would do in an anomaly or when you were out in space. You can actually set the approach and orbit, so when you just touch the word approach without dragging it, it'll automatically go to a set range. You also want to make sure to take the time to check your weapon's optimal and fall off, and that's what you're going to set your orbit to. The approach you're generally going to want to set to 0. Please realize when you're setting your orbit that it will MWDs and ABs will throw that off, so make sure that you're testing that in a safe environment. Sometimes you can test that in a staging area or right when you undock before the fleet actually starts. You can target one of your fleet mates and say, hey, I need to check something out, and you're not attacking them, you're just literally orbiting to see what it ends up being, because while it might be an orbit of 5 with none of your propulsion mods on, when you turn your propulsion mod on, that could shoot up to 7 or 12 or further, depending on what your max velocity is. Look at your HUD. Once you've undocked, make sure you look at your HUD, all your buttons on screen, and think to yourself, like, what are the steps that you're going to take after you lock someone? What is the priority, and what order will you be touching all of your buttons? What's the most important to hit first, second, third, etc. Also, do the above for defense. What if you're the one getting pummeled? What do you do, in what order, and what is the priority? And lastly, as far as the PvP checklist part is concerned, you want to consider your opponent's ship's capabilities. Are they long range? Are they brawl? Is it gonna chew me a new one, or am I able to get under its guns? Now, these are things that you're gonna learn over time with practice, but these are all things that you need to consider at the beginning, at the very start of any fleet. You kind of need to have these things in your head. Now, as we go further on, some of the things that you'll see in fleets or that you'll need to do in fleets. Like I said before, what if you're the one getting pummeled? Well, the first thing that you want to do is you want to request repairs. This is how you're going to save your own life. Only do it once, unless you're fighting against me, and then spam it. No, but seriously, only do it once. They'll be able to see you. There's a history portion that all the Logi will be able to go through and check out. Following squad commands. If you have a good FC, you don't even need to have the sidebar open. First and foremost, you want to go ahead and hit the filter at the bottom of these squad commands. Then you want to go ahead and hit from fleet. Logi would need to turn off attack. It will really help them. Everybody else, I'd say just leave everything on, unless you really want to turn repair commands off. In this next image, this is what a focus fire command looks like. You want to make sure that you see this sort of thing, And that's what I mean by you don't even need to have the sidebar open, is that if you have a good FC, then they're going to be calling all the targets, and you don't even need to see what's where. You just need to touch this button and activate your modules accordingly. In the next image, there's a lot of FCs who will request capacitor, and this is why I say the DPS shouldn't turn off repair commands, because a capacitor request is a way for people to lock the main anchor, and basically the main person that the whole group is going to be following the whole time. Generally it's the FC, not always, and that person wants that allows you to lock them into the upper right corner, which you'll see in the next one. And then depending on the command that the FC gives, you would either approach or orbit them when they're asking, for everybody to, get on anchor. Being on anchor is super important to the success of any fleet. If you're scattered all over the place, you're basically doing yourself and your team a disservice, because you're not being a cohesive unit. On the next image, this is what it looks like when, in this example, you're going to touch orbit, and then in the following image, it's going to show you this is activated. You are orbiting, in this case, the Ferox Guardian at 0. And in doing that, like if you ever see it there, then you know it's working. If something happens on screen, you double tap by accident, and you notice that little line disappears, that means you're no longer on anchor, and you need to do the next step, which is go into the history of the fleet. You click on the little clock icon here, listed in number 1, and then number 2, you go to the one that you need, and then go ahead and touch the button. If, let's say, you're paying attention to something else for whatever reason and you miss the command that is given, that's how you can get to any command that's listed in there that you would have seen. So that's why it's super important to hit from fleet, because if it's not from fleet and it's somebody else and you have to follow their ping for whatever reason, then you won't see it. It won't show up in your history even after you change things. You have to, in order for it to show up in your history, you have to have received it in the first place. In the next image, you're going to see the follow command. This can sometimes, or the approach command. Sometimes it could be approach a celestial, it could be approach an enemy, it could be approach the FC. You can see this. It's something that you would, it's how you orient your ship in a direction. Deaggressing. A lot of times FCs will call for deaggressing so that you can go through a gate, or for whatever reason, a litany of things, basically to maintain movement. This means turn everything off, like not your defense modules, but I mean, in a lot of cases you want to turn literally everything off. You want to recall your drones, like in this next image, and then after you recall your drones and you have all your offensive modules, like every one of them, the E-War, the weapons, everything. The only thing you should have on is like your adaptives and your boosters, if you have any, and maybe your propulsion mod. There's going to be this, in this next image, there's a little red timer that shows up right above your shields. That red timer, when it goes away, you are fully deaggressed. In the next image, you'll sometimes have FCs who call out for log off. In order to do that properly, you don't just force quit the game. What you do is you click on your face, you click on settings, and then inside the settings window, there's a log off button. That's what you hit. It takes 5 seconds to initialize, and then once you just leave it on screen, you don't touch nothing. And then your ship will randomly, at some point, it has to pick up speed, but then it warps off into nothingness. And when it does that, your screen will change, and it will say something like, everything will be cloudy, and it'll say something to the effect of, you're now safe to log out. In the next image, a lot of times we want to save capacitors so we don't have everything on the whole time that you're doing stuff. But if an FC says props on, do this. Basically turn on your propulsion modules, whether it's an AB or an MWD in most cases. Group reps caps on, group modules on. Do this. Basically turn on the thing that the FC is calling for. And last but not least, we have hardeners on. Can you guess what it's going to be? Yep, this. You want to turn on your hardeners. Do this. Well, thank you very much, everybody. Thank you again to the leadership at No for allowing me to put this together in a public format. I hope that this was helpful to new pilots out there. I hope this saves Veteran FC's time when they have new people in fleet. You can just send them this quick little video, even though I'm at 17 minutes just on the face recording part, not including my intro and this little outro. But anywho, again, thank you very much for taking the time to watch this video. Please pass it on to anyone who you think might benefit from watching it, and really appreciate you stopping by. Oh, last week's winners, I did announce it on the previous stream. I'm sorry, I did announce it in the comments of the previous videos, but last week's winner for random comment was William L8868, and for the suggestion chosen, where's he at? Admiral TON. Admiral TON-618. He is another content creator for Eve Echoes, but he's not an official content creator. So seeing as, you know, he puts in the work and everything, I couldn't have been happier to give him that Duo Omega this time around. Hopefully he'll be part of the content creator team and can just start giving these things away, and he didn't. But in the meantime, congratulations to the both of you. This week, you know what, let's just keep it easy. I have a Reddit post. For this one, we're just gonna do random comments for both of the Omega giveaways. And I have a Reddit post where I'm asking for help on an Eve lexicon. When I put that video out, I'm going to be announcing a winner for that portion, but I'll also be announcing the winner for this video. Now, last time I almost missed the deadline to submit, so I'm gonna say that within the next 4 days from this video being posted is when you'll have a chance. You can put a 07, you could put a hey chicken, you forgot this. You could be like, this is the worst video ever. I don't care what it is you comment about here in this video, but please take the time to comment in this video. And you have a chance to win Duo Omega. I'm going to be picking 2 winners out of this video comments. Additionally, in the next video, I am going to be doing the Eve lexicon, Eve Echoes lexicon. It's going to be a video similar format size to this. If you want a chance to win that Duo Omega, make sure you go to Reddit or you DM me directly through Discord, giving me some answers on what you think would be good Eve Echoes lexicon. I'm going to be picking random comments from the Reddit post for that video, so I will be able to not only announce the winners from this video, but also the winners from the Reddit video, the Reddit thread that I have. Now, I can't give away 4 in a week, so they'll be offset, you know, these 2 and then these 2. So for this video, you have 4 days. For that video, you have until that video, about an hour and a half before I submit that video. I'll put a little message at the bottom of my Reddit, you know, I'm recording the video now, you know, chances are done. So nobody's wondering if I've done it yet. And so yeah, it's only 2 a week. So this week, congratulations to last week's winners. This week's winners, I'm going to be choosing in the next 4 days. And on my next video, I'll be announcing this week's 4 winners, and I'll be also announcing the following week's 4 winners. Thank you again for stopping by. Again, pass this on to anyone who you think it will be useful for. And if you're not already subscribed, please take the time to subscribe. I really appreciate all 244 of the people who've already done it. And maybe you'll be 245. Just saying. Thanks again, y'all. Have a great day.